Gamers, how is it freaking hanging? First of all, yes, this is what I look like. I am MVBowserBrutus. In any event, today we're going to be doing something a little different. So, I have open here my tier list of all the tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I know, Mario Kart 8 content in 2026, crazy. But it's been a while since I made a whole video ranking all the tracks in this game, and in that time, a lot of my opinions have changed, so I wanted to revisit this tier list and remake it. Normally I just do a whole other video, but honestly, I don't have the patience to write a whole other script, so we're doing it like this. And we'll go from bottom to top, like most tier lists do. Yo guys, it's me in post-editing. Before we get into the tier list, here's your obligatory reminder to smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. And that's all I wanted to say. Back to the video. Starting with our bottom tier, we got Daisy Circuit and Daisy Cruiser. Daisy Circuit is definitely staying down here, and it's not because, Daisy track therefore, Even if you take away the Daisy stuff, this track isn't even that interesting. Like, the layout is pretty mid, like it's not very engaging to drive on, and it's so flat, and the music is garbage, and it does nothing to appeal to me. Nothing! So, it's staying down here. Daisy Cruiser, though, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think I might have been a little harsh on this one. This placement definitely just reeks of Daisy track therefore, which it's hard not to think that way, but taking away the Daisy theming on this track, it actually becomes like a pretty interesting track, like a cruise ship. That's neat. So I'm actually gonna move this one up here. But it's definitely not going any higher than this, because it gets what I like to call the Daisy tax, where even if it's a good track by itself, if it's a Daisy track, it doesn't go very high, so it's gonna stay right there. So moving up to the meh tier, starting with Baby Park, and I've never been the biggest Baby Park enjoyer. This is a track that worked best in Double Dash. And they kind of tried to remedy that in this game, but it just didn't really work out. And the fact that it's an oval isn't helping its case, so it's definitely staying right there. And then we got Moo Moo Meadows, and yeah, I still don't think this one is very good. It's one of those popular tracks that I just really don't get the hype for. And it just really doesn't spark a lot of joy, so it's gonna stay right there. Toad Circuit, I actually do want to move. I'm gonna put it below Moo Moo Meadows, because Moo Moo Meadows, despite how much I don't really care for it, it at least doesn't feel like a pointless addition. Toad Circuit definitely feels like a pointless addition. Not to mention, it's ugly. So, I really don't know why I put it above Moo Moo Meadows. Then we got Donut Plains 3. This one I also want to move. I'm going to move this one here. No, above Toad's Turnpike. Because even though it's a SNES track, it does do, some cool stuff compared to the original, with the whole, underwater driving and the insane visual facelift, and it's not boring to drive on at all. So, I don't know why I put it lower than Mario Circuit 3, because Mario Circuit 3 does nothing, despite kind of having a more interesting layout than Donut Plains 3. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing, so I think I'm going to leave Mario Circuit 3 right there. Then we got Toad's Turnpike, and I really don't hate this one like everyone else does, but I still think it's pretty mid. The cars are way easier to avoid than they should be, and the layout is just a figure 8, but at least the cars do give it something more to do than just driving straight and turning, and the wall driving sections are pretty neat, so, like, again, it's not horrible, it's just, like, it's, meh, like, yeah, that's all it is, it's just, eh. Moving on now to the satisfactory tier. Starting off with Peach Gardens, this is another track that's popular among the community, but I just never really saw the appeal. I mean, like, it's fine. The reverse third lap in particular is pretty neat, but it just, I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me as much as it does other people, and I really don't know why. So I'm gonna leave it there. The same thing with Royal Raceway and Sweet Sweet Canyon. Both of these are actually tracks that I kind of slowly grew to appreciate over the years. Originally, I would have put them, like, way down here, but nowadays I wouldn't do that. Especially with, like, Sweet Sweet Canyon has a really interesting theme with the whole, like, sugar rush aesthetic, so, you know, that's at least something, but I can't really justify putting either of these any higher than they are. Tokyo Blur, though, this one I do want to move. I'm gonna move this one, I'll move it, there. Cause I'm one of those guys that doesn't dislike the city tracks, but even I can agree that Tokyo Blur is the weakest one. I'd even go as far as to saying it's the weakest one by far. Cause, like, literally every other city track at least does, like, interesting stuff. Tokyo Blur doesn't really do anything. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but, like, it's just roads, roads, and more roads. That doesn't really seem like a good way to represent Tokyo. And then we got Yoshi Valley, and I'm also gonna leave this one where it is, cause, like, it's definitely not a bad track. It has some fun moments, and the novelty of exploring a bunch of different pathways is pretty cool, but then there's the fact that only, like, 3 pathways are actually viable, and it kind of just kills the novelty. But, again, it's not a bad track, not at all, but it's just kind of like, it's fine, and nothing else beyond that. That's the best I can say for it. And then we got Snowland, and I also want to move this one. I'm going to move this one up here. I think I underrated this track, because, like, it's actually a really well-done remake of a track that I didn't even dislike on the GBA. I thought it was, like, a pretty okay-ish track. And this remake enhances it in quite a few ways. You know, there's no awful screen shaking, and it's like, it's pretty fun to drive on now. I guess my thought process was the fact that it's like, it's slippery because it's an ice track, therefore it's not as good, which, I mean, yeah, I kind of still feel that way, but I don't think it should go all the way down there. GBA Mario Circuit, I'm also gonna leave this one where it is. This one definitely improves on the original in quite a few ways, but it's still like a basic circuit at the end of the day, except now with this one U-turn raised up high, which is cool, don't get me wrong. I like this change, but it's still just kind of it's a fine track and nothing more. And then we got Wild Woods. I'm also gonna move this one slightly up. I'll move it there. I really don't know why I think this track is, like, just fine when everyone else calls it, like, pretty good. I really don't know why, and I really like the concept behind it, like, driving through giant trees and a Shy Guy village and a pond. It's cool. Like, I can't deny it's cool, but I don't know. The execution just doesn't really hit as much as other tracks. That's the best I can say. Then we got Ice Ice Outpost. I'm gonna leave this one. Actually, I'll move it above Paris Promenade. In contrast to Wild Woods, This is a track that a lot of people just really can't stand, but I think it's pretty okay. Like, it's not the worst, not the best, so I think right there is appropriate. And then Paris Promenade. This one does a good job of being the introductory city track and everything, but can I really justify putting it higher than any of the other cities besides Tokyo? No, I really can't, so I'm gonna leave it right there. Then we have Rosalina's Ice World. I think that one can also stay where it is. I was just really glad that we got another 3DS track in Wave 6, because I was thinking, are they really done with the 3DS tracks after Wave 3? Like, that's it? And then we got one more, and I felt really relieved. I would have liked it if it was Bowser's Castle, but I mean, I'll take what I can get. And this is another track that I thought was kind of ick when I first played it on the 3DS, but I've slowly grown to appreciate it more and more over the years, and now I think it's a pretty okay track, and I think it can stay right there. Cheep Cheep Beach, I think this one can also stay where it is. This one improves on the original in a few ways with, like, the trick system and the new underwater paths. Like, those are pretty cool, but it still just kind of feels like a cookie-cutter beach track, so I don't think I can justify putting it higher than this. And then we got Sherbert-Land. I think I'm also gonna leave this one where it is. This is a track that's, like, massively improved from its GCN counterpart. It went from one of the worst tracks in the series to a track that I actually think is fun to race on, but kind of like Snowland, just the fact that it's a slippery ice track just kind of steers me away from it more often than not. But it's still a cool track, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think I can justify putting it any higher. That's all it is. And then we got Mushroom Gorge, one of my more controversial takes. Everyone puts this track, like, up here. I put it, like, down here. I really don't get the excitement for this one. Like, it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but it's not all that. Like, it's just kind of fine and nothing else. Like all the other tracks in this tier list. It's just fine and nothing else. So, I can't justify putting it higher than that. Calamari Desert, though, this one I do want to move. I'm gonna move this one, I'll move this one here. My thought process at the time was, like, the introduction of the new railroad track section. I was just like, holy shit, it's different, it's exciting. Which, yeah, that's understandable, but even with those new additions, this is still just like a glorified oval with basically nothing but soft, wide turns. And, I mean, the train definitely helps. But, like, it doesn't do that much to improve what is otherwise a glorified oval. And so, I don't think I can put it any higher than that. Then we got Mario Circuit, and this one I actually want to move up to the next tier. Because, honestly, this is one of the most interesting renditions of Mario Circuit in the series. It's a figure 8 track done right. Like, I don't know. It feels a lot less stretched out than a track like, say, Toad's Turnpike, and the whole Mobius strip concept is actually pretty cool. So, I don't know. It's a pretty fun rendition of Mario Circuit. I don't know what else to say. And I think I, like, minorly underrated it. So, I'll put it right there. And that brings us to our next tier, the good tier. And straight off the bat, I want to jump ahead to Sunset Wilds. I placed this way too high. I'm going to move it all the way down here. My thought process at the time was like, oh, you know, it's not as bad as everyone says it is. It's still there's still a lot of things to like about it, which I still believe to an extent, but it takes away so much from the GBA version that I really can't justify putting it all the way up here. And it also brings up the fact that if the game engine couldn't support a dynamic sunset, why add this track in the first place? I mean, come on! Bowser Castle 4 was right there! And this game was begging for more Bowser tracks, and we only got one! Oh my god. I need to move on. And then we got Shy Guy Falls. This one I actually want to move up. I'm gonna move this one, here. I think what I was thinking, putting it down there, was, like, the music is so bad that it just steers me away from it, which, I mean, I get that. I still believe that to an extent, but I don't think it kills the track that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty cool track when you take away the awful music. Like, you're driving up and down waterfalls and making sharp turns, and it's just cool. I don't know what else to say. It's just cool. The music doesn't kill it that much. Then we've got Animal Crossing, and I'm gonna leave this one where it is. Actually, I'll put it below Mario Circuit. Because, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Animal Crossing, so it's not like hitting a type of, like, special point or whatever. That said, I do really like the whole changing seasons gimmick, and the track layout isn't boring to drive on at all, but it doesn't really spark as much joy as most of the tracks above it, so I'm just gonna leave it right there. New York Minute, I do also want to move this one. I'm gonna bump it down to here. I'll put it right there. Cause even though it's definitely a step in the right direction compared to Paris and Tokyo, it still just kind of reeks of being the first city track ever made for Tour. Which doesn't really help its case, so I think there is a more appropriate placement. Dry Desert, I also want to move down into this tier. I'll put it right there next to New York Minute. Because, once again, there's a lot of these for me. It's a track that I don't think is as bad as everyone says it is. It's kind of like Desert Hills in Mario Kart World, actually. It's actually, like, a pretty okay track layout. Like, honestly, I'm not bored racing on this track, but it's just hidden behind being just a cookie-cutter desert track with not much interesting going on, and the loss of the tornado and the piranha plant head aren't helping either. Although, I do actually think the Oasis is a pretty okay addition, but it doesn't really save the stuff it took away from the GCN version. But like I said, it's not a bad track. It's just a fine track, and I definitely placed it too high. Maple Treeway, I definitely placed this one too low. I'm gonna move this one up here. Because, like, I feel like I was just placing it down there just to piss off all the Wii stands, which, I mean, I like doing that any day of the week. You Wii stands are just the bane of my existence, but that doesn't change the fact that this is actually a pretty cool track. Like, it's really cool driving across massive autumnal trees, and there's a lot of pretty satisfying turns on this one, so I feel like I placed it way too low. I think that is a more appropriate placement. And Toad Harbor, I also want to move this one up a little bit. I'm going to put this one next to Shy Guy Falls. This is another, like just pleasant track without too much else to say, and it actually gives you a lot of options at almost every area. Like, you can drive on top or below the market stalls at the beginning, and there's like the big wall driving section, and the straightaway after has like 4 different ways you can traverse it. Like, it's a neat track. I don't know what else to say. And then we got Excite Bike Arena. I'm gonna move this one down to the bottom of this tier, but I don't think I'm gonna place it any lower, cause this track is just dumb, mindless fun. That's the best way I can describe it. Just spamming tricks all the time, just boom, boom, boom. That's just dumb, mindless fun. I mean, I can't place it any higher because it's just an oval, but it is just some dumb, mindless fun. So I'm gonna leave it right there. Then we got Sky High Sunday. Oh boy. After playing Mario Kart World for 7 months, coming back to this track in this game is rough. If you ask me, they should have just saved Sky High Sunday for World and given us Piranha Plant Pipeline in this game. Like, I still don't think this track is as bad as a lot of other people say, but it is just rough coming to it after playing Mario Kart World. So I'm gonna move this one down. I'll put it above Calamari Desert, because like Excite Bike Arena, it is still like some dumb, mindless trick spamming fun, but it just feels so bare bones compared to its appearance in Mario Kart World. Then we got Water Park, and I also think I slightly overrated this one. I'm gonna move this one, here. Again, I don't know how many times I'm gonna say this. I don't think this track is as bad as a lot of people say it is, but I do understand the whole missed opportunity of not incorporating elements of like a real water park. Instead, they just kind of made it like a flooded roller coaster thing, which is unfortunate, but I don't think it kills the track as much as a lot of people say it does. So I think right there is an appropriate placement. Then we got Dolphin Shoals, and I'm actually gonna leave this one where it is, because it's a pretty clever twist on like a pretty generic theme. You know, it's got that big deep water section with the various routes you can take, and then you drive on a massive Unagi, which is really cool. I don't know. It's a pretty fun take on a water track, and I like it. But I just don't like it as much as a lot of the tracks above it, so it can stay right there. And then we got SNES Rainbow Road. I'm also gonna leave this one where it is. Even though it's definitely the weakest of the 5 Rainbow Roads in my opinion, like, it's still a pretty fun track, and it definitely is the best version of SNES Rainbow Road. Despite it feeling like a bit of a wasted slot because, like, it just appeared in Mario Kart 7 before Mario Kart 8, but, oh, whatever. It's a pretty fun track. And then we got Yoshi Circuit, the track that's famously shaped like a Yoshi. You can't really go wrong with good old Yoshi Circuit. I actually think it's at its best in this game. I don't know if that's a popular opinion or not, but what do I even care? Yoshi Circuit is one of the best circuit tracks in the series, and it definitely still feels really good to play in this game. And then we have Sky Garden. This is another one that I'm going to move down. I'll put it right there, because like Sunset Wilds, it just takes away so much from the GBA version. I actually don't even mind the new aesthetic they were going for with like the orange brick road and stuff. I don't even mind those changes, but they simplified the layout way too much, and the only thing that's recognizable at this point is the music. It just feels more like it's inspired by Sky Garden than faithful to Sky Garden, if that makes sense. But I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I still enjoy it, but it's just missing a lot of the little things that made it so good in Super Circuit. Then we got Ninja Hideaway. I'm actually going to move this one up here. This is another track I think is quite overrated. It's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But I definitely wouldn't put it, like, all the way up here. Like, it's a really cool themed track. Like this sort of dark, mysterious Japanese ninja hideout. Like, that's really cool. And the track layout is fun to drive on. It gives you a lot of, like, options. Like, you could take a completely different path every single lap, and that's really cool. But, I don't know, I just don't think it's as good as a lot of other people say it is, so I'm gonna leave it right there. Then we got Merry Mountain. I'm definitely also gonna move this one down. I'll put it, do I put it above or below Sky High Sunday? I'll put it above Sky High Sunday. I was just geeking out at the fact that it's like, oh wow, it's a Christmas track. And I love Christmas so much. But it doesn't change the fact that this track is kind of just... it's just kind of whatever. Like, it's just a glorified oval with some verticality, and especially that ending slope feels too slow. Again, it's not a bad track. It's really not, but it definitely didn't deserve to be all the way up here. Like, what was I freaking thinking, dude? And then we got Riverside Park. I'm gonna leave that one where it is as well. It's a pretty solid remake of a pretty solid track from the GBA. Like, it's a short track, but it feels really good to play. It's fun to drive on. It looks gorgeous. The Patuis are a nice addition, and that money shot jumping out of the waterfall is something else, man. And I don't know what else to say. It's a nice, pleasant little track, and I'm glad it's here. Then we got Bangkok Rush, and I'm also gonna leave this one where it is. We're definitely taking a noticeable step forward in terms of the quality of the city tracks, but this one doesn't feel quite as exciting as most of the others, so I think it can stay right there. Then we got Mario Kart Stadium, and I'm also gonna leave that one where it is. Actually, I might put it below Ninja Hideaway. I still firmly believe this is the best opening track in the whole series. Although I wouldn't say by far anymore, because Mario Bros. Circuit is also pretty good. But this track just has like a level of flair that no other opening track has ever had before. You got like the big stadium cheering you on, and it's set at night in the middle of a city instead of just some boring, generic daytime grassland again, and the layout is more varied than most other opening tracks. It's surprisingly good for being the first track in the game, nonetheless. Like, it leaves a really good first impression, and I think it's just, I think it's really fun. I don't know. It's a simple track done to perfection. That's all it is. And then we got Coconut Mall. I'm gonna move this one up a tier. I mean, it's Coconut Mall. You really can't go wrong with good old Coconut Mall. Even if it is missing a few things compared to the Wii version, like the loss of the escalators is slightly unfortunate, but I wouldn't call this a butcher track at all. Like, I still think it retains a lot of the good stuff from its Wii counterpart, and I actually kind of like the cars a bit more in this version. But that's just me, I guess. It's Coconut Mall. You can't really go wrong with it. I slightly underrated it. And then we have Piranha Plant Cove. I think that's a good spot for this one. It's pretty cool that it takes after the city tracks by having multiple routes while also not being a city track. I think that's pretty neat, and it's fun to drive on. It has a nice reference to Wario Shipyard in the third lap, and I like the whole ancient underwater ruins vibes. Like, it's good. I like it. But just the tracks above it are just better. That's all it is. Now, moving on to the great tier. I'm actually going to go ahead and put Coconut Mall above DS Mario Circuit. DS Mario Circuit is definitely the best circuit track in the Booster Course Pass. If there's ever one circuit track from the DLC to leave in, it's this one, without a doubt. Like, this one has it's got a really fun layout, it changes from the original, it's got like varied scenery with that forest and stuff, and it's got active hazards, which are actually somewhat dangerous in the case of the fire piranha plants. Like, it just does everything right that a circuit track should do, in my opinion. And I think it's just a really well done remake of a track that I already liked on the DS. Then we got Boo Lake. I'm actually going to bump this one slightly up. I'm going to put it... I'll put it right there. The thing about the GBA tracks in the Booster Course Pass is that while they're good, they don't really feel at home with the base game GBA tracks, specifically Cheeseland and Ribbon Road. However, the same can't be said for Boo Lake. Boo Lake definitely feels right at home with Cheeseland and Ribbon Road, and in my opinion, that's one of the core reasons why it is, without question, the best GBA track in the Booster Course Pass, and honestly one of the better tracks in the game. I think I placed it a little bit too low. Then we have Super Bell Subway, and I'm going to leave that one where it is. It's another, like, pleasant track that feels fun to drive on. It's fun, like, dodging the subway trains, and there's those, like, upper metal grates you can take. It's a fun track, and I don't really know how else to put it. It's just a fun track, and I like the vibes. Then we got Bone Dry Dunes. I'm actually going to move this one slightly down. I'll put it right there. I'm one of those rare people who actually thinks Bone Dry Dunes is a pretty solid track. In my opinion, it's like the coolest desert track in the series, without question. Like the whole red sand, like skeletal, dry bones, dry Bowser aesthetic. It's really cool, and the track layout is actually pretty engaging to drive on. Even if there's like, it feels like it's missing a few things, especially seeing as how good the other base game tracks are, but for what it's worth, it's a really solid desert track, and I really just don't understand the hate it gets. Actually, I'm gonna move Piranha Plant Cove beneath Maple Treeway real quick. I feel like I kind of enjoy Maple Treeway a little more. Anyways, up next we got Sunshine Airport. That one can also stay where it is. Like Super Bell Subway, it's a fun track with a nice vibe, and I enjoy racing on it. It's pretty good. And then we got DK Jungle. It was really cool to see a track that was like genuinely, explicitly Donkey Kong themed, because there were other Donkey Kong tracks in the past, but they only really had his name on it. This track, though, actually feels authentically Donkey Kong coded. And the only other track that I can say has that is DK Spaceport. But this track is it's really fun. It's a really cool spin on like a generic grass jungle theme by giving it a Donkey Kong Country Returns theme, and it's really cool. I like it. Then we got Sydney Sprint. I think that one can also stay where it is. You know, comparing this to New York, Paris, and Tokyo, this is a considerable step in the right direction when it comes to the city tracks. I don't think it's one of the best ones per se, but it is pretty good. Los Angeles Laps, though, I think I might have overrated this one. I'm gonna move it down here. I'll put it right there, next to Bangkok. I feel like this track is a little overhated. Like, I don't think it's awful, but it definitely is missing some things that could have made it really good. Like, why aren't we driving through oil fields, bro? We should be driving through Hollywood. Then we got Swamp Ruins. I think that one can also stay where it is. It's one of the best Mushroom Cup tracks to ever do it. The ancient ruins vibe is really cool, and it's great that Thwomps finally have their own tracks, and similarly to a track like Ninja Hideaway or Toad Harbor, there's quite a few options in a lot of places. Like, you know, around the middle section, there's like all those wall driving sections that you can take if you wanted to avoid the main road, and there's also that glider that opens up specifically on the third lap. It's really cool. I don't know what else to say. It's really cool. And then we got Amsterdam Drift, and I'm gonna move this one below Swamp Ruins. This is definitely one of the better city tracks, because it feels like fairly unique compared to a lot of others. Like the whole springtime grassland, like kind of countryside aesthetic is pretty neat, and there's like the canals you drive through. I don't know, it has a decent amount of standout moments, and it feels like pretty fun to drive on, like a lot of the other city tracks do. I like it. It's a nice vibe. Then we got Cheeseland. I think that one can stay where it is as well. The negativity this track gets honestly makes me kind of angry. Yeah, so what if they turn it into a desert? This is a great way to modernize an old track, giving it like a big visual facelift and giving it some huge elevation changes and like a massive anti-gravity section. This is a retro track done right, if you ask me. Yeah, the loss of the cosmic aesthetic is slightly unfortunate, but even then, this feels unique for a desert track, kind of like Bone Dry Dunes, because it's not just like a desert, it's a cheese desert. And then we got Squeaky Clean Springs. I think that one can also stay where it is. A lot of people say it's like one of the highlights of the DLC, which, I mean, I kind of get. I think it's hilarious that somebody literally just decided, hey, let's make a track out of a giant bathroom. But, I mean, I don't think it's quite as good as a lot of people say it is. But it is really good. Don't get me wrong. I do quite like it. But I don't think I can justify putting it any higher than that. And then we got Vancouver Velocity. That one can also stay where it is. This one is pretty infamous for getting worse with each lap. I don't entirely agree with that. I personally think laps 1 and 2 are about on par with each other in terms of goodness. Lap 3, though, definitely feels a bit barren. But it doesn't take too much away from what's otherwise a really solid city track with a pretty good amount of standout moments, in my opinion. It's really solid. Then we got Berlin Byways. I think that one can also stay where it is. This is another one of the more memorable city tracks, not only for its really good music piece, but also because the track just feels fun to drive on. The layouts have enough variation to stay fresh, and there's the traffic that adds a little extra layer of challenge, and I don't know, man, it just feels really fun to go around. I like it. Then we got Shroom Ridge. I've always viewed Shroom Ridge as the unsung hero of traffic tracks. A lot of people are like Toad's Turnpike this or Moonview Highway that, and I get it. I love Moonview Highway as well, but Shroom Ridge is pretty close to it, in my opinion. Even if they didn't change much about it in this game, I don't really think they needed to, because it was solid enough as it was. That said, I do really like the 2 new shortcuts they added, and the extremely twisty layout feels really good to drive around, and the music is so good too. Like, even though this kind of suffers from having the Wave 1 graphics issue, like, this is one of the highlights from the first wave, without a doubt. Then we got Wario's Gold Mine, and this is another track that I think oppositely of what most people do. Most people say the changes to the minecart section, like, kills this track. I actually think it makes it better. I think boosting off of the minecarts is way more fun than trying to dodge them, and I really don't know why. But other than that, like, it retains, like, the great layout and theming from the Wii version, and it feels fun to drive around, and I actually like the changes to the minecart section, so that's why I think it belongs up here. And then we got London Loop. I think I placed this one too high as well. I'm gonna move this one down here. I'll put it right there, because once again, I really don't think this is one of the worst city tracks. Not even close, but I do understand the whole shtick of it having missed opportunities. You know, like, why is it mostly just driving on roads, bricks, and then the brief park area? Why don't we go inside, like, the British Museum or something? That would have been really cool, but for what it's worth, I do find it fairly enjoyable to race on, outside of a few dull moments here and there, but on average, I do like it, and I think it's very much overhated. A lot of people say it's like one of the worst ones, other than like Tokyo. I absolutely don't agree, but I definitely don't think it belongs all the way up here. But I think there looks good. And then we got Singapore Speedway. This one's pretty famous for being the most well-liked of the city tracks, which, I mean, I kind of understand. I really like it too, but I wouldn't call it the best. There are a tiny few parts that I think are like a little lacking, but on average, it does feel really good. It plays a lot differently than basically any other city track, and it looks gorgeous, and it's really fun to drive on. Like, it is good, but I wouldn't call it the best. Although, I'll move it above Rome Avanti. Because again, like, it is really good, but I don't like it as much as other people. Then we got Moonview Highway. I know I was praising Shroom Ridge earlier, which I still will do any day of the week, but I can't deny that Moonview Highway does feel better than Shroom Ridge. Even if they kind of took out most of the cars, in a way I kind of view that as a plus, because they felt a bit over the top in Wii. I don't know, if maybe you up the car percent by like 150%, it would be perfect, but even as it stands, this is a solid remake of a solid track from the Wii, and I'm really glad it's here, because I have always viewed it as the best traffic-based track, other than Shroom Ridge. Then we got Rome Avanti. I also firmly believe this is one of the most memorable and one of the best city tracks. I don't know, something about it just feels really good to play. Like, a lot of the turns feel really satisfying, and there's a lot of trick opportunities, and there is enough varied scenery with stuff like the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain. Like, I don't know, something about it just feels really good, and like one of the best city tracks in my opinion. But what's even better is Madrid Drive, and I still think I like this better than Singapore Speedway, and I really don't know why. This one is like Rome Avanti, but with more standout moments, where it's got like a lot of turns and trick opportunities, but then there's like a lot more varied places. You got like the museum and the train station and the soccer stadium. Like, it's all really good stuff, honestly, but it's still missing, like, a couple small things, I'd say. But other than that, it's really solid. And I have no shame putting it up here. And then we got Yoshi's Island. This is another really cool one. I haven't played Yoshi's Island all that much in the past, so I don't really know the references in this track, but I can only imagine they're pretty solid, because there is a lot of stuff to look at, and the amount of varied scenery is ridiculous, and the track layout is a ton of fun to race on as well. Like, it's just a really well-designed track, and also the fact that it has its own unique, like, start jingle and victory music and stuff, that's really fun. It's like the Booster Course Pass equivalent of an F-Zero track, in a sense. And I think it's really cool, but I don't really know if I can rank it higher. That's all it is. Then we got Tick-Tock Clock. The visual glow-up from the DS to this one is flabbergasting, and this track is still so fun to race on. In some ways, I'd actually say it's better, because of, like, the trick system and stuff. And the pendulums are a lot less annoying, too. And I don't know what else to say. Like, it's still a really interesting theme with a great layout. It's really good. Then we got N64 Rainbow Row. This one can stay where it is, too. The original N64 Rainbow Row just felt it was just kind of lame, because it just went on for way too long, and there wasn't enough going on outside of the occasional chain chomp. This version completely flips that on its head. Like, it makes the layout, like, more interesting with a bunch of, like, raised sections with anti-gravity, and there's, like, the chomp balls that make the road wavy, and there's, like, some added speed boosters and stuff. It does so much to improve on the original track, and it's a very, very solid rendition of Rainbow Row. Now, on to our next tier, the Awesome tier, and I want to jump ahead again on this one. I'm going to jump ahead to Rock Mountain. Once again, after playing Mario Kart World for 7 months, I can confidently say that Rock Mountain and Shy Guy Bazaar should have swapped games. And this is coming from someone who likes Rock Mountain in this game. Obviously, I put it, like, all the way up here, but now that I played Mario Kart World, it really feels like they should have saved this track for that game, just like Sky High Sunday. So I'm actually going to move this one down into Great. I'm going to move it, I'll say right there. That seems more appropriate. Like, again, I do still like it quite a bit. It's Rock Mountain. It's hard to go wrong with that track, but they really should have saved it for Mario Kart World, because you can trick while gliding in Mario Kart World, and this track's whole shtick is gliding. And in this game, gliding doesn't really do anything, so it should have been in Mario Kart World. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that. Anyways, moving on to Athens Dash. And I am a firm believer that this is the best city track. I think it's just because it feels so much different than all the other ones, even Singapore. Like, the ancient ruins vibe is really unique, and it doesn't really focus on the actual city, and it has, like, crazy dynamic elevation changes and a lot of fun turns and stuff. Like, it's really good. Really, really good. Then we got Cloud Top Cruise, and I'm comfortable leaving that one there. It's like a spiritual evolution of Sky Garden, and it's, like, way cooler in almost every way. Like the Bowser aesthetic, the storm cloud where lightning is striking down, and, like, the airship stuff. It's so cool, man. And it's so fun to drive on, and The music has a little snippet of Gusty Garden Galaxy, which is pretty fun. Like, there's not much to dislike about Cloud Top Cruise. Then we got Ribbon Road, and this is, without question, the best GBA track in the game. Unlike Cheeseland, where the evolution feels a bit weird, the evolution in this track actually feels pretty natural. They turned it into like a Toy Story style kid's bedroom, where everything is like dramatically upscaled and you're racing on like a little kid's toy. That's really cool, and it also kind of makes me feel nostalgic because I used to play with Kinect's Mario Kart toys when I was a wee tot, and this kind of reminds me of that, so it's really good, and I have no problem leaving it up there. Then we have Choco Mountain. I think I actually want to bump this one down a little bit. I'll move it right there, above Madrid. Because this is a very solid rendition of Choco Mountain. Definitely an improvement over the original track, but I've gotten so used to the Mario Kart World version that something about this version just doesn't feel right. And that feels weird to say, because the Mario Kart World version is so much different, but I don't know. But, like, I still really like racing on Choco Mountain. Don't get me wrong. I will not complain if I'm racing on Choco Mountain. Not even a little bit. Come to think of it, actually, I think I'm actually going to bump up these two tracks to this tier. And then we got DK Mountain, a certified Mario Kart classic. A lot of people were clamoring for Dino Dino Jungle to be in this game, but we got Dino Dino Jungle in Mario Kart World, and that was a phenomenal remake, so I think DK Mountain's spot here is completely justified, and this track is still so good, man. The turns feel so good to go around, and it's one of the cooler takes on like a mountain jungle aesthetic, especially with like the volcano and stuff. It's just so cool, man. So cool. And then right next to it, we got DK Summit. I don't know whether people prefer DK Mountain or Summit. I've always personally been a slight Summit enjoyer more. I don't know, I just think the snowboarding theme is more interesting than the mountain theme. Even if the actual track layout isn't quite as varied. But that doesn't do much to subtract from the fact that this is a super fun track, and I'm so glad it's in this game. It kind of feels like a track that Nintendo forgot existed, but nope, we got it, and I couldn't be happier. Up next, we got Hyrule Circuit, and I'm not even that big on Zelda games, I'll admit, but holy shit, this track is so f***ing cool. I mean, the track layout is really fun, the references are really solid, at least from what I know, especially like that Easter egg inside the castle where hitting all 3 spin boosters activates a secret path. It's so cool, dude. So cool. And then we got Twisted Mansion. I'm actually going to move this one down to the bottom of this tier. I still think this is a really cool take on a ghost track, and I think the hate it gets is very undeserving. Nowadays, though, I do kind of question whether I like it more than Luigi's Mansion, but one thing's for sure is I still think it's one of the best ghost tracks in the series. And I don't really know how to explain it. It like the spooky theme is just done really well here, with like the wavy roads and the underwater section with Boulder Guy's face and those statues at the end that slam hammers to the road. It's really cool stuff, and I think it's like really fun to drive on, and unlike a lot of people, I actually don't think the water section kills it. And I don't know what else, like it's a really cool take on a ghost track, and it definitely feels much better than a lot of the others, except for like Luigi's Mansion and maybe Boo Cinema. And then we have Koopa Cake. This one is also pretty infamous for being butchered, according to most Mario Kart fans, and once again, I don't really agree with that. I'd actually say this is closer to being as good as the Wii version than Mario Kart 7's iteration. Like, I know the brown color scheme is kind of but I mean, at least the textures actually look like rocks, unlike Rock Mountain, and I actually don't even mind the stuff they did with the tube section. Once again, I actually think it helps compared to the Mario Kart 7 version, because with the Mario Kart 7 version, you were just kind of like turning left and then right. But with this version, now it has anti-gravity, which is immediately more interesting, and there's spin boosters in it, which makes you go a little bit faster, and there's also the half pipe on the U-turn, so there's more stuff to do than just driving straight and turning. I'm not saying this is better than the Wii version. Don't get it twisted. I'm just saying it's a perfectly acceptable remake, and I still think it's one of the better tracks in the game. Like, by a lot. And then we got Waluigi Stadium. That one can definitely stay right there. It's so cool, man. The visual glow-up from the GCN version is absolutely bonkers. And it plays better than it ever has. It has, without question, the best use of half-pipes in the entire game. Adding, like, those raised routes in the later half of the track that you can only access through half-pipes is ingenious and so damn cool. I'm so glad that the first GCN track in the BCP was an absolute banger. And then we got Dragon Driftway, and I'm also gonna leave that one right there. The negativity this track gets honestly just pisses me off. It's so good! So good! The unique Chinese theming mixed with the reference to Gobblegut is peak. It's just peak. And the track layout is so fun to drive on, with a bunch of tight turns and stuff. Like, it's so good! Why do people not like this track? And then we got Mount Wario, and duh, of course that's staying up here. It's one of the best snow tracks to ever do it. Driving through this track feels like a journey, starting off in like a desolate ice mountain, and then going through a cave and a dam, and then a forest, and then a ski resort. Like, holy shit. It's so freaking cool. And I really don't know what else to say. This track is just, it's so good. And then we got Music Park. You really can't go wrong with good old Music Park. Like, gee, I wonder what's awesome about driving around a giant music-themed racetrack, where you can literally drive on top of giant pianos and xylophones and stuff. Do I really need to say anything else? No, I don't. It's Music Park, it's freaking awesome. And then there's Electrodrome. Most people seem to prefer Music Park, but not me. I've always preferred Electrodrome's more colorful, nighttime rave aesthetic. And the track layout, once again, is an absolute blast, and it has some pretty interesting moments, like the anti-gravity zone, and the synth panels at the end. Like, there's really nothing to dislike about this track, at all. Then we got Wario Stadium. I don't know if this is just me, but it feels like this track works a lot better in Mario Kart 8 than it does Mario Kart DS. And that's mainly because Mario Kart 8 has tricking. But even putting that aside, this track throws some crazy-ass curveballs at the original layout, with those raised anti-gravity panels, and then the underwater section, which everyone hates for some reason, but I don't really see why. It's so cool, man, and I always like me a good dirt bike stadium theme, and this track delivers that in such a perfect way. And once again, the track layout is immaculate. Better than on the DS, for sure. I mean, this is all around just an excellent remake. And then we got Piranha Plant Slide, one of the most interesting concepts for a track ever done. Basically taking the Mario Bros. 1 underground levels and turning them into like this sewer kind of thing with piranha plants, and the execution is just as good. This track not only looks super cool, but it's so fun to drive on, and has one of the best underwater sections in the entire game. It's such a cool track, and I love it so much. One of my favorites from the 3DS, and one of my favorites in this game as well. And that brings us to our final tier, my top 10 tracks in the whole game. And I'm still pretty confident with these picks. First up, we got SNES Bowser Castle 3. It's the best SNES track to ever do it, by a country mile. One of the biggest glow-ups any track ever received. And honestly, one of the best Bowser Castles in the series. It is an absolute travesty that it's the only other one we got. Then we got Waluigi Pinball. And come on, it's Waluigi f***ing Pinball. What can I say that hasn't been said before? Nothing! Because it's peak! Enough said! Then we got Bass Rainbow Road. I know, crazy take putting this in the top 10. But I genuinely think this is one of the best Rainbow Roads in the series. And I'm not saying that just to be different. I mean it! This track doesn't try to be like other Rainbow Roads. It sets out to do its own thing, and I have to congratulate it for that. And the thing it does do, the whole techno-futuristic space station thing, I love it! I absolutely love it! And the actual track is insanely fun to drive on too. This track sets out to do its own little thing, and it does that thing to perfection. And then we got Grumble Volcano. Even though this is kind of worn off over time, the novelty that this was the first ever lava track that wasn't Bowser's Castle is quite the achievement. And once again, I got nothing but respect for that. And also, this track dynamically changes with each lap by having more and more of it just fall into the lava. And I think that's super cool. And once again, the track layout is super fun, and I'm just a huge sucker for lava themes. There's quite literally nothing about this track that makes me say no. Then we got Neo Bowser City. Bowser upgraded from lava-filled castle to techno-futuristic city, and I am so here for it. This track is not only one of the coolest ones to look at, but also one of the most fun ones to drive on. The amount of sharp, tight turns is absolutely bonkers. And also the fact that it's raining and makes your car a little bit harder to control, that gives it the perfect edge of difficulty. I mean, holy shit, this track is just cool on so many levels, and all you haters can piss off. Then we got Wii Rainbow Road. I have so much nostalgia for Wii Rainbow Road, but this placement has nothing to do with nostalgia. It's genuinely one of the most well-designed Rainbow Roads, and one of the most well-designed tracks in the series. I mean, there's just so much to like about it. The Mario Galaxy inspiration, the ridiculous turns, the numerous amount of jumps, the Bifrost Tunnel, the required half-pipe. It's all so good, man. And I'm so happy that this track got another chance to shine in the light, and it could not have shined any brighter. Such a perfect remake of one of the best tracks to ever do it. And then we got Mute City. Maybe I'm just biased for F-Zero, I'll admit, but god damn it, this is a top 10 track in the whole series. It recreates the feeling of F-Zero to a T. The track layout is constantly twisting and turning on its head, and there's a ridiculous amount of like boost panels and anti-gravity boosters and everything that makes you go super fast. The sense of speed is genuinely unparalleled. F-Zero is gone, but not forgotten. Then we got Big Blue, which is just a better Mute City. It may not have the exact same sense of unparalleled speed, but it definitely does so in a more interesting way, by having like conveyor belts and like a cannon glider and rushing water. And once again, it feels so much fun to drive on, and the fact that it's a big old one-lapper is honestly really cool. These could not be better tributes to F-Zero. And then we got 3DS Rainbow Road. What's there not to love about 3DS Rainbow Road? Like Mount Wario, this track feels more like a journey, taking you through the depths of space, across rainbow roads, and on the rings of Saturn and the moon, and through a swirling vortex thingy. It's so peak, man! And finally, we got Bowser's Castle. I will also die on the hill that this is better than Wii Bowser's Castle. They went so hard on the Bowser Castle theming in this one. Genuinely one of the most intimidating versions of Bowser's Castle in existence. And the track layout is absolutely stellar, with the perfect blend of difficult and fun. Turns that are sharp as nails, obstacles that can actually be somewhat hard to avoid in some cases. I mean, this track just does everything to appeal to me, and it could not be a clear choice to be number one. And just like that, we're done. There is my updated tier list for all 96 racetracks in the supreme S-tier banger that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Hey guys, just popping in here to say real quick, thanks for watching the video. If you did enjoy, once again be sure to like and subscribe, as your appreciation does not go unnoticed. Anywho, I'll see you next time.